Israel Diaries, Part 4, Nazareth Village. Nazareth Village is a not-for-profit organization set on the outskirts of Old Nazareth. The Nazareth village is built on ancient agricultural land that boasts the area's last remaining 1st century wine press. The original farm has been restored with its ancient winepress, terraces, irrigation system, and stone quarry. An exact replica of 1st century houses and a synagogue, a watchtower, mikvah, and olive presses have been carefully constructed using the original building methods and materials. Together, these elements form the Nazareth village, an authentic 1st century farm, an archaeologically accurate recreation of the hometown of Jesus, with real ties to the life and time of his friends, family, and fellow Nazarenes. Pilgrims to the Holy Land typically only see the dead stones of ancient ruins, but the geographical and cultural nuance of Jesus' teaching are often crucial to understanding their full meaning. At Nazareth village, Bible scenes are brought to life by villagers who populate the farm and houses, living and working with the same type of clothing, pottery, tools, and methods that Mary and Jesus would have used. These are some snaps from the Nazareth village. Now, Jesus grew up in Nazareth. How did they identify that village? Is because there is a spring. So water spring is the source of life during the time of Jesus. So where there's a water source, they build a village around that. So that's how they identified the village, and it was a small village, maybe about 300 people in that village. And this one is the model of the Nazareth village at the entrance of the center. These are some people, those are dressed up like the village people. There's a goat farm there, and this is the pomegranates and the apple trees. These are the grape trees in the Nazareth village. Few more snaps from the Nazareth village. This is looking out from the village into the modern Nazareth town. There's a donkey tied under the olive tree. These are some of the stuff that you can see in the household of a Nazarene. These are the stuff, the photo taken for the stuff there. And this is olive press in the village. These are a few more snaps, and this is the olive press connected to the olive press where they get the olive oil. These are the vegetation there, and the livestock in the Nazareth village, and a woman weaving yarn, cotton yarn, and a dress. These are the way they put color to the thread. So for example, this is a pomegranate. They rub the thread on the pomegranate to get a this color. So different color to the yarn was given by rubbing it on the stuff that is available in the village itself. So this is just a demonstration for that. I'll leave you with some short videos that I took from the Nazareth village, showing various aspects of the village, and it's self-explanatory videos.
Just watch the thistles.
I'm a shade girl. I like to sit in the shade whenever I can. So whatever you like. In the 1990s, it's not that long ago. But
This is first century wine press.
To the first century because of the pottery shards that were found in the bottom here. It's also the only wine press that has ever been discovered in all of Nazareth during this time period. We know that Jesus also grew up about 5 to 10 minutes from here, so very good chance that Jesus was actually here as well. actually partaking in the grape harvest season. So at the beginning of summer, they gather the grapes from the vineyards here, they lay them on this flat plain, and they invite all the locals, which again is about 300 to 500 people. The locals would remove their sandals, and they would hold hands, and they'd sing and dance and crush the grapes with the bottoms of their bare feet. Now the reason they used bare feet is because they discovered it was strong enough to squeeze the juice out of the grape, but your foot is not strong enough to crush the seed inside the grape, and the seed is very bitter. So if you were to accidentally crush that seed, it would ruin the taste of your wine. So as they were singing and celebrating and dancing, the juice would begin to flow down this channel here, and over the top they would have a linen cloth. Now this would capture the skin of the grapes and the seeds of the grapes, only allowing the grape juice to flow to the bottom. They would take new wine skins and they would collect the juice. Now it had to be new wine skins because as your grapes begin to ferment, they need room for those bags to expand because the grapes are releasing. It's always a lesson right here. The grapes are releasing gas, so they need to be able to stretch and bend on these bags. Now once the juice is collected, they put it on a shelf and then wait approximately 40 days to 1 year, and then it's considered a new wine. There was also alcohol in the wine. However, they believe it was not as strong as what you would typically find today if you were going to have a bottle of wine. I thought that was a wild animal. I thought it was a rooster. I'm like, oh.
No, this is gold.
What's interesting is that Jesus is describing a place. If you open your Bibles to Mark chapter 12, he's telling a parable, a story, but he's describing a place. And the place that he describes goes like this. A man built his vineyard. He had a wall built around it. He dug a pit for his wine press, and he had a watchtower. You guys, this could very well be the exact place Jesus was talking about. Even though it was a parable, this is what he would have known. This would be the example in his life. Now, this watchtower is a replica. However, they have found 3 more watchtowers that are originals, that do date back to when Jesus lived here, on the other side of this sound barrier wall here. This is a replica. It's basically symbolism of a 24/7 surveillance system. So they would have this manned 24 hours a day, and it was assigned to anyone wanting to possibly take advantage of the vineyards or the farmland or even the animals. It was also a way they could make sure that there weren't any wild animals coming to attack any of the sheep or the goats or the donkeys or horses or whatever. So it was an extra strong security for the village. At the top of the hill, you'll see that there's a building. That is a hospital. It's called the English Hospital, actually. And we're all connected together under a non-profit called the Nazareth Trust. So that includes the hospital, Nazareth Village, a nursing school, and an international serve program. So if any of you would like to come back someday and volunteer, I have information I can give you at the end of the tour. You can come for as little as 2 weeks up to 3 months even, and you get to meet people from all over. So if you know someone who would be great,
Apple, pomegranates, grapes.
Hi. Please keep coming here. We have enough shade.
Taking a picture?
Hello. Okay, come on. Hello. Hello. We plant winter vegetables which need lots of water, cold weather. I guess next week we will harvest in everything, and then we'll plant summer vegetables which need warm weather and lots of water, like melon, watermelon, cucumber, something like that. Here for the moment we have cabbages, we have some lettuce, we have parsley, and before just a few days we harvested all the onion, the garlic, and the carrots. But there is something very, very important. We must talk about it. And it's pruning the trees. If we don't prune the trees here, everything will be like a jungle. Also, we will have a very small fruits, small leaves, and the tree will be very weak, and also lots of diseases. That's why in February we prune most of the trees here, and all of it, sorry. Usually in the summer, in the winter time, when it's too cold, strong wind, and so all the leaves, most of the trees here losing the leaves. Still empty branches, doesn't grow at all. In March, the trees start to return back to the life, make new leaves, new branches, and flowering. That's why we prefer to prune it 1 month before in February. On the olive trees, you can't see even one high branch at all. If you go in the whole village, you can't find even one high branch. Why is that? High branch just for trouble. First of all, high branch make lots of shade on the low side of the tree. And there we're going to have most of the olives. And olive don't like shade at all. Olive wants sun the whole day. Also, we know that less branches, we will have bigger olives. Bigger olives, which mean much more oil. And imagine that we have another 2 or 3 meters high branches, and then we must climb on the tree. And that's very dangerous. That's why we prefer to save all those problems when we prune the tree. Also, we prune all the fig trees. Do you see the highest tree up there with the big leaves? This is the fig tree. Here we have another one beside us on the next side. We pruned also all the pomegranate here with the red flowers. And on the left side, you can see the apples. So beautiful apples we got here. And also the grapevine above us. Now, on the grapevine, when we prune it, we take most of the branches out. We leave just a few branches, 3, 4, 5 branches. But this short branch has 2 eyes. Those eyes with the time going to be this branch, and this branch, and this branch. The old branch that you see here never give us a grade. Just the new branches. The job of the old branch is to feed the new branch and make eyes. Next month, we're going to see all those trellises completely covered. Listen, it's so beautiful to be here in the summertime when it's too hot. Sit down here in the shade, watching all the grapes. Your eyes choose whatever you want. Start to read it. This is my romantic life. Yeah. Okay, this trellis here, all of it is red grapes, and all the others on the next side, we have it green and yellow grapes. Usually, we harvest in the grapes.
I was too heavy. You see?
So olive press, demonstrating how the olives are being pressed.
Take a photo. Waiting for mom.
No, too little donkey.
Okay, that's it.
Is that the convenience system? The mail and the email and the means
Oh, love you.
Yes, that's right. the windows on top, meaning it brings in the wind, but not the.
We'd all be sweating together.
Okay, cheese, man. Keep moving in inside. Just keep going in.
Carrot.
Yeah,
And
yeah, just
actually
moving.
the
You want someone start this?
This is a bedroom or a room during Jesus' time.
My name is Daniel. I'm the potter of the village, and yes, basically, I like to play with mud. As you can see, very fun. But to have a potter back in the days was really important. Why? Do you like to eat? We all like to eat, right? We need to eat in plates. If we want water, we need jars, right? If we want to go to the bathroom as a night and not step on our brother, we need oil lamps. It happened to me. Yes, that's how it is. So, we need those things. A potter would do them to the families, to the people around him. But first we need to make clay, the material. Anyone knows how do we make clay?
Mud and sand. No, something else. I can't
Sister,
remember
you
what
have a
mud
lot
and
of
something
potters
else.
over here. Good job. So, mud and you're right. Very simple. Behind you, do you see the fence? Down the fence, there are two pools. There I'm gonna create the clay. I'm gonna pour the water and the soil and mix them with a very special machine. The name of the machine is Beat. So, I'm gonna mix it and I will have to clean it. Why? Because it can have stones. Stones crack vessels. So, very important to take those things off on the process. And then, after a little bit of mixing and working, the clay is ready. I can bring it here and start making vessels. Let me show you, okay? This is the potter's wheel. I'm spinning it at the bottom. And here I will shape the vessels. Ladies and gentlemen, an oil lamp. Looks easy, right? So, when I'm satisfied with what I have done, I will cut it off its base and put it inside to dry in the shade. Do you know what happens if it dries fast in the sun? Right, ladies and gentlemen, it cracks. And if it cracks, I will get punished. I will clean the donkey place for a month. I'm still cleaning it, yes. That's how it is. But they will dry inside, as I told you. While it dries, I can make additions like handles or holes or decorations. For example, in the oil lamp, this part for the wick is added later, like 3-4 hours when it's drier. Then after a few weeks, they are dry and ready. And we can finally bake them. There, do you see the dome?
Yep.
That's the oven. They will bake in a high temperature. And at the end, will come out like those on the plate on the corner. Those are ready. We can use them. They can have liquid. Finally, can eat cereal. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, this process is hard. It can take about 40 days from mud to a vessel. But it shows us a beautiful, beautiful thing about God with us. You saw that this process is hard. Sometimes life can be hard too. We can all go through hard things, have hardships, with our families or with our jobs. Sometimes we struggle, that's the truth. But we need to remember one thing. God is a good potter. And yes, I can shape vessels, but God can shape lives.
Amen.
And He knows what to do with our lives. And throughout these processes, even if we sometimes do not understand, He will shape us and make us stronger, will make us better, and we will be able to endure more things and the end product, the end result, the end of the process will be a great one, like the vessels. We will be hard, we will be beautiful, and we will be very, very useful, very precious to the potter. Jesus also went through hard things. We need to remember that. But we know that the end of the story was great. He rose for all humankind. We're happy for it, very happy for it. So, Prophet Isaiah says to us, right, something really interesting. He says, God, you are our Father, and we are the clay. You are the potter, and we are all the creation.
Amen.
Amen? Amen. That's everything, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy. You're welcome. My pleasure.
Some space to spread out a little bit. This is our last stop on the ground before we go to the exit stop. So you all did a really great. Thank you. All right. We're good. Oh, I got the thumbs up. That's great. It's nice to see a school like this. I really do love this. Well, everyone, welcome to our first century replica synagogue. This is the head of our synagogue, Zechariah.
Hello.
And everything. And what a lot of people don't realize was in the first century, synagogues were not just holy places, but they were used for many reasons. It was meant to be used as a community center. It was also used for an all-boys school. Sorry, there were no girls' schools back then. I know, I'm very sad. It was used as a courthouse and a municipality, so it had many purposes. It wasn't just for holy reasons. Now there's a storage room on the side here where they would keep the scrolls during the week because they wanted to protect them. But on the Sabbath day, we do know that this was used for holy purposes, and we also know that there was one Sabbath day when Jesus was invited to come and read from the scroll. Zechariah will demonstrate for us. Enjoy. Thank you, Zechariah.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He's anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty for the captives, recovery of sight for the blind, and freedom for the oppressed, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord.
With this, Jesus handed the scrolls back to the attendant and he sat down. Now all eyes were in amazement at what Jesus had just read. What he had basically read to this entire group of people, just like ourselves, was that he was fulfilling this prophecy that they had waited over 700 years. He was declaring on this day that he was in fact the Messiah. Now when he said this, all the people accepted it as good words. They also knew he was the son of Joseph, the carpenter, but they believed him and they believed his words were good. Jesus went on to tell of two more of God's miracles that you can find in the book of Kings. One is the miracle of a starving mother and her son. There was a horrible, terrible famine in the land, and she only had enough flour and oil to make one more final loaf of bread before she would die of starvation with her son. Because she had faith and was obedient to the instructions given to her, God honored her and provided for her food to last through that awful famine, and she did not die, and neither did her son. The second miracle was talking about an enemy army commander of the Jews, and he had a horrible disease of leprosy all over his body. Very painful, but how God had delivered him from this horrible disease and had healed him. Now as soon as the crowd heard what Jesus was saying, they no longer accepted him. In fact, they got furious and they decided they were going to take Jesus and throw him off the edge of a cliff and kill him. He likes that girl way too much. But what had just happened? Just a few minutes prior, they had accepted him as their Messiah. The big difference was when he spoke of God's two miracles. Those two miracles were not talking about Jewish people. They were talking about Gentiles. And in the Jewish mindset, the Messiah was only coming to save the Jews. What Jesus was saying through giving these two examples of miracles is that he was here to save the world, and you could have salvation in him whether you were Jew or Gentile, whether you were Jewish or not Jewish. His salvation is offered to all. When they heard this, they became upset. They didn't want a their enemies, the Romans, they were under this great oppression. They didn't want them to be saved by Messiah. And they considered his words blasphemous, which is why they wanted to kill him by throwing him off the edge of the cliff. Now we know they didn't succeed in that because we read in the scriptures how Jesus was able to turn through that angry mob and continue through and not be harmed. He continued to do ministry while he was here in Israel before his crucifixion and even after. But as far as his connection to Nazareth, we believe this was the last time he was actually here.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. We have one more final stop, and then it will be time for me to say goodbye.